I would like to build a much improved version of the house over there. The reason to do it is so that there can actually be a little village of off-grid tiny houses. It looks like it's going to be a real push to make the goal of the Kickstarter campaign. But I am hearing now from people, places like Costa Rica and South Africa and elsewhere in the U.S., we want one of these. Even if the campaign fails, it's really opened a lot of doors. So this was kind of his practice house. This is by far his most experimental. This was a collaborative build. I came in with some design ideas and he said, great, this is wonderful. However, you do lack building experience, so we're going to have to really move things in some different directions. And some of those directions were great. I'm so glad he did it. Some directions I will definitely not do again. So, that's just building. Talk to anyone who's built a house of any complexity, and that's just how it goes. People have different ideas. Some ideas turn out to work well and some don't, and it seems to be randomly distributed. This house is 100% off-grid, solar powered. The solar panels are really hard to see because they're on this low-pitch roof, which is parallel to the pitch of the ground right here. It's got rainwater catchment. This is a thing I would do differently. I do not like the fact that the storage is external. In my original design, we had 4 of these storage containers inside the house, under the bed. It's much easier to freeze-proof something indoors than outside. This catchment is pretty elaborate. I'll start here. So there's a downspout which has a first flush diverter. That's what this whole tubular thing is. And there's a ping pong ball that rides up to the top here with that first couple of gallons of really dirty water off the roof, and then plugs itself right here, and then all the clean water from the rest of the rain comes right down into the barrel, which fills up, and it turns out that this is a self-cleaning barrel. What it has is a U-shaped overflow pipe with a hole in the top of the pipe, and so what happens is the water comes up, and when it gets to the level where it should spill over, the first place that it can start pulling water from is at the bottom of this pipe, inside, and so it's actually pulling up the dirtiest water, the sediments from the bottom, and that helps keep it clean. So the combination of the first flush diverter and the overflow, this is water that just came straight out of from the barrel. And if you've ever had a rain barrel, you'll never see water this clean out of a rain barrel. Yeah. It's usually green or almost brown. You can see mostly debris that was in the bucket.
Would you drink it?
In Australia, they would take this and put it straight in a tea kettle, and yes, you would drink it. What I do is I filter it 4 more times inside the house, and then it's quite potable. It's got a half-micron filter and a charcoal filter, and then 2 other filters besides to handle different sizes of particles. It's about as clean as water can get. Yes, you can definitely drink it without boiling it. Luxury versus boondocking. This is for people who want to spend $50 and take a nice long shower. You just pump this up. It's a little sprayer. And you leave it in the sun and it heats up the water. Hang this up somewhere and take a 5-minute shower quite easily. Now, this is 2.5 gallons. This is 25 ounces. Which do you think heats up quicker in the sun?
That one.
This one, right. 2 of these is what I actually use for a shower. If I come back covered with sunscreen and dirt from digging sweet potatoes or what have you, 2 of these is more than enough to get me clean. Now, I don't have very much hair, so it's relatively easy for me.
Is this your clothesline?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
In my next version, I'll make the clothesline integral to the house. It'll be just a flip-down thing. But for now, yeah, this works. I should show you my washer.
Oh. So you have wood underneath?
Well, this is my clothes washer. Yep. It's basically this will really make you to like the mechanical electric-powered washing machines, but in a pinch, this will do great. I've had a dirty section of tents from the farmer's market that had been improperly packed, and I'll show you the inside of this. So it was all mildewed and cruddy, and I thought, well, there's no way these stains are coming out. And I threw it in there and filled it halfway full of water, so that's 2.5 gallons. I think it was a ½ teaspoon of biodegradable detergents, and plunged away for, I don't even think it was 5 minutes. No.
That's like a toilet plunger?
Yeah, makes
Does it go down?
the swooshing. It just
Oh.
it doesn't change shape, but it makes this swooshing noise. The thing that is elastic in this case is your clothes. With a toilet plunger, it's this rubber thing, and of course it changes shape because your toilet bowl is hard.
Right.
But in this case, your clothes are soft, and so they provide the elasticity that you would get in that plunging motion.
So that's sold as a clothes washer?
Oh yes, yeah. So this is called a breathing washer, and they sell it in the layman's catalog. Did a great job. It took out the stains entirely. So I said, okay, fine. I had not quite as good luck with my clothes because I think I was being very stingy with the water. We're still climbing that learning curve. The total volume per day is less than half a gallon. So I think this is fine for now. You might wonder why it's this weird flexible hose. Why?
So you can load it, put it away and move the house.
So, you know, Danny was really thinking experimentally. He said, oh yeah, we'll go with plywood and we'll stain it. No, don't do this. Don't stain plywood. Paint it with epoxy paint if you're going to do plywood. And there's products out there that are plywood or OSB based that have 50-year warranties. That's what you want to use on the outside. That's what Danny used with his next house. That's what I'll probably use. I don't locally source some tongue and groove siding for the next job. So,
Are they solar?
yeah, these are, well, it's all solar. This is not plugged into any kind of mains power at all. So this is LED lighting in the house.
Okay. I'm the penis.
Come on in. Oh, the last crowd ate all my pudding, but I cooked more, so some more while you're checking out the place. But yeah, you know, this is all in a 12-volt circuit. You can plug all these lights right into like a car battery, and they'd work just the same, including the dimmer. So, you know, there's nothing much to it. And then I do have an inverter, which I plug other stuff into, power tools and the like. So yeah, let's see. All right.
Oh, you've been baking.
Yeah, not in here, in the main house. I've done most of the cooking most places I've lived most of my life, and so that, at this point, is coming up on nearly 40 years of cooking. You know, I've veganized all my recipes. This is a veganized persimmon pudding. I look forward to translating a lot of stuff into wood stove cookery. So you're welcome to some persimmon pudding. We also have, they're working their way through the tea, too. Well, we got more. So we got some mint tea, if you want. This refrigerator is like a dorm refrigerator, except it costs 4 times as much as a dorm fridge.
Why?
Because it takes 10 times less electricity to run it than a dorm fridge. And I will never use one of these again. Instead, I'll go to the same company and spend the same amount of money and do a built-in top loader with my own insulation. Instead of having this really tiny ice box, you know, freezer, I will have a freezer that can store 6 gallons of ice cream. I have a potential customer who specified 6 gallons of ice cream. We'll do it.
Is the microwave your biggest energy user?
The refrigerator is. Yeah.
Even though it's...
Yeah, with all that.
Really?
Yeah, refrigeration's really, really expensive.
Oh. Yeah, I gotta taste
You know,
this.
I mean, the wood stove is a necessity, and help yourself to tea if you like to. Yeah, those are all clean. Wood stoves are a necessity too, because if you run the numbers, even a mini split system, an air source heat exchanger, would require like 4 to 6 solar panels, and it would not keep you warm on a 40-degree below night. Whereas that, I'm trained in how to do this properly and safely, and he said, yeah, I'll help you with the next one. No charge, because you've done me some big favors.
So you guys trade off.
Yeah, I think between us, off-gridding cabins might be the kind of thing that we can do. We just do a stand-up wash tub and throw down a towel around the outside, and the spills would, I mean, you know, you could just do it right over the wood, and you know, one towel would get up all the spills. I could take two of those 25-ounce bottles and just empty them on the towel, just pick it up. There would be no water left on the floor. I'm not sure I would even use a shower. I'd just probably do a little wash tub, have it up somewhere and have clothes in it, or have like open bag for laundry. So if I want to take a shower, I'd dump that out, grab the bag, put that down, put that on the ground, step into it,
Yeah, there you
shower. You know, and again, all the spills, as long as you've got enough coats of polyurethane on the floor, basically more than 3. You just mop it up with a towel with your foot, and pick it up, throw it on the clothesline, and you're done. I don't like cleaning showers, you know.
Either.
So this would be cleaner than that.
What are the dimensions again?
It is 8 by 14 feet on the outside. The total floor space works out to about 96, 97 square feet.
How long have you been living in this?
Living just a couple months now. I built it last spring of 2013. There were just so many things that didn't meet my expectation. It was very experimental, and I didn't have all the systems together. So winter, as you may remember, hit really early last year. I mean, we had snow on Halloween.
Yeah.
You know, it was just miserable. I didn't have the chimney in, so I couldn't occupy it. Just gradually...
This is so tiny. You have to make your wood tiny to get it in here, right?
Yeah, there's some wood right behind it there. Yeah,
Oh!
just a little bits.
It's like kindling.
Yep. I've only run 4 fires in it. I'm still sort of working out the kinks. I put in a smoke detector on my 4th fire, and it started beeping, and that's when I noticed there was a very slight leak, and I've been trying to chase that down. So because there was a leak, and because it was getting on toward bedtime, I had to shut the fire down completely right at the point where...
Is that glass? Can
That
you
is
see?
glass.
Oh.
And it's completely creosoted up because I had to shut that fire down prematurely. I'm new to this. We'll get there.
So do you have to ream it out like a chimney sweep once in a while?
Yeah. In fact, you probably need to do it a little more frequently than most. This is running a little cooler than most. I've had it up to 450. You probably can't run it much hotter than that.
Is this a drawer or a table or
This is a
something to work
drawer.
on? It is a drawer, okay.
Yep. And it's going away, sadly. The problem that we had with this is that the refrigerator has condensation.
Oh.
And here's where we're actually really glad we went with a solid floor rather than a laminate. You'd have to replace the piece of laminate. In this case, I'm going to take out the drawer, raise the refrigerator by an inch or 2, and just sand that down, redo that little section where it's under the door.
This is all your...
Yeah, careful, it's not hinged.
Oh.
Yeah. Another thing I'll do differently.
Oh.
Danny loves to not hinge things. I believe in hinges. There's our water.
And there's the filters.
Yep, all the filters.
Is that costly, the filter system?
Moderately, but once you have them, there's only one of the filters that needs to be changed. Every 6 months you change the charcoal filter. I think that's less than $15 anyway. For a water bill, that's not too bad.
Where's your inverter and stuff?
Right over here.
Oh.
And the batteries had an external access. That's another thing to do differently. No external accesses except for the door and the windows.
And this is storage, huh?
Yep. There's a huge empty space where originally I had the water tanks designed. Now that gets to be the dog bed. I've got a very large dog that I've cooped away in the other house.
Well, that contributes to your heat, doesn't it? Have a big dog.
That's right.
3-dog night and all that.
Absolutely. A human body puts out 230 watts of heat. You know, on a freezing night, so if it's down to 0, you're going to need about 500 watts to keep it at 72 degrees. 2 people get you almost there. 2 people will keep this place warmed to mid-60s indefinitely when it's freezing out.
Because it's very well insulated.
That's right, yeah. We are 17 or 18.
Then you add the dog and it's too hot. You have
Yeah. Right. Well, and then there's the solar gain through the window. Opened it up during the day. The other night it was freezing, and I came in here and it was 68 degrees. The sun had set 6 hours before. This is low E glass. It's only R3, but it's not letting that much heat out. And then there's this fun little table, little trombone table.
Oh.
And
I was thinking in the winter it would be too small to hang out in here, but it's not.
the fun thing is, if you have a real cozy group, somebody hang out here, you got room to set drinks down, somebody there. I had a drum circle that wanted to meet here. I was too skittish, I said no, but maybe they could meet 5 or 7 people. They'd have to be really good friends. But sure, I mean, 2 on that bench, 2 or 3 on the bed. And take that other bench out and you can get 1 or 2 more, depending on how cozy they are. So maybe you can do it.
Do you use the composting toilet then?
Oh yes. Yep.
Okay.
There's sort of two levels you can go with composting toilets. One is these sort of home-built bucket toilets, and those are good. There's a lot of literature and experience that people have amassed on how to work with those. There's a new type of toilet, which is made for mostly boating and RVs, which is also composting. Basically, you could use it for 48 days without emptying it, rather than 4, which is how often, every 4 days you have to empty this. And the way it works is it's got peat moss, and it's got a little vent. You turn it, half drying it, and it composts in place. You want to actually empty it at least a day, and preferably 7 days after its last use. It's got a separate tank. You would take that out, and in a community environment, I would just swap in a new one, and then just let them age for a month, and then to a compost pile.
So you would dump it. It's a dump.
Mm-hmm.
Something you just reel out and dump.
Yep.
Is it safe fertilizer for your garden?
That's entirely a matter of how you handle it. The short answer is absolutely not in the short run, but if you run it at 150-degree composting pile for 2 weeks, it would be totally safe. That's the protocol that they developed in Berkeley for use in India to greatly improve sanitation. The manufacturers of this second toilet, this one that'll set you back $1,000, versus a bucket toilet, which is, maybe a few tens of dollars. What they will say, and what most people will say, is, look, what you want to do is do all the things you would do in terms of composting it, and then just put it on your ornamentals, flowers and trees, non-edible, and then take all of your cuttings from them and compost that, and then that's quite usable. So that's the safest protocol. The whole modern approach to composting was invented to take the disease factor out of the night soils of China and India. And it is quite effective if you do it right. But that means actually getting some training and learning how to do it and how to troubleshoot it and what to look for. Most people aren't that meticulous about it, and that's where you can run into trouble.
Didn't you say that this house uses like 1/16 of a regular house's?
1/30.
1/30?
Yeah, 1/30 as much resources. So a typical house weighs 75 tons, so 150,000 pounds. This is way less than 5,000 pounds. The trailer is rated at 2,800 pounds gross vehicle weight, but it's actually slightly on the heavy side, so it's certainly less than 4,000. It's probably less than 3,500. It's way, way less. If this were 5,000 pounds, it would be a 30th total mass of materials that goes into a stick-built house. But then you look at the energy. I've got 0.5 kilowatt of solar panel on the roof, and with an average of 3.2 hours of insolation per day, which is to say total sunlight on it per day. That's 1.5 kilowatt hours a day is what's coming into it. But I'm not even coming close to using that. Here I'm using about 25 kilowatt hours a month. There's a lot of houses out there where people are using 750 kilowatt hours. Again, 30 times.
If you were connected to the grid, you could sell.
I could sell for the pennies a day that it would get me, but sure. If you're small, going off-grid is so much easier. If I were to do a green retrofit of the house just down the hill, which is a 1974 Hayward single-wide, I would have to put, when I did the numbers, just the off-grid elements would be about $12,000. This house, including all of its off-grid elements, was about $15,000. You can have the whole house, the whole living experience. So that'd be another 5. It would be up to 17. So it would cost more to just do a green retrofit of that house. The simplest green retrofit, which is just the solar power, not even redoing insulation or anything. When I added up all the things we wanted to do there, it was $37,000. That's a teardown. We're abandoning that infrastructure within a year or two.
Are you both moving in here?
No, that's another story.
I was just thinking 2 people.
No. But there's a lot of visiting.
Okay. Is there anything you would do different?
A ton. I've got over 100 things that I want to do differently with my next build. I'll show you the model of it. Pretty much almost everything you can imagine will be different. Maintenance is easier and easier the smaller you get. You notice that? The first thing is I would enter from the end, and I'd make the porch integral so you don't have to fold anything up. Easy to move, not hard to move. This is a much smaller design. I probably wouldn't recommend this for like a couple, but for somebody who's got an occasional weekend guest, this would be just fine. This is 7 by 10 feet, so this is about 56 square feet inside. This has actually got a wardrobe with dressers, and you notice that the composting toilet area, there's a door, so behind this door is the composting toilet. That door swings open and then shuts off this whole area. That's called a double door, double purpose door. It seals off this whole area, so you now have a dressing and a wet bath area. This will be my demonstrator. This would be great for a single person. The backrest of the couch. This is something that I grew up on sailboats. One thing that you see on sailboats is the backrest and the cushions can be made into a second bunk. It can just flip up and be your second bunk. Or you could take that same backrest, that same cushion, and make a double. And so now you have just that one level sleeping surface. So it's quite versatile.
So you give up a bathtub.
You give up a bathtub, that's right. You give up a shower, but you're using so little water, and you have to use so little water. We'll store less water than this place was originally designed for. This will store about 70 gallons of water. Okay, that's a 55-gallon drum outside, but I was originally designing for 200 gallons.
Oh, that's so much water.
Right.
Well, it's rain dependent, so that's what you have to...
Well, I sized 200 gallons so that it would get you through the longest drought on record in this part of Ohio, which is 47 days. So on a reasonable amount of water, you could do that. Worked out to 4 gallons a day.
So this model has no porch?
This model has an integral porch, so it's built right in, and then the roof overhang. They can make tiny Halloween display style bale. I don't know how much those cost. No, you're talking about cob, and you don't need bales for this kind of a thing. But you could potentially also do straw bale and then do, a natural plaster over it, and then it's just building blocks kind of approach.
That's a great idea.
I don't think they really do.
So if you can take the water bottle with you, we do have water. We'll issue safety equipment when we get out there. If you're working on a tool, you'll need to have a hard hat, safety glasses, and gloves. We're here to have a good day and get some trees in the ground. The site is really, really, really uneven. It's going to be terrible footing out there. So have a good day out there.
Let's just kind of take care of each other today, okay? Look to your left, look to your right. Know what's behind you, know what's going on all around you. Thank you for coming. I think Hocking College is probably ready for you to board the bus.
What we're working with today is the culmination of 30 years worth of research at the American Chestnut Foundation. And we used all of the same methods that we use for breeding soybean and breeding corn. We used it as a method to breed in blight resistance into the American chestnut using genes and a back-crossing program from the Chinese chestnut. And what we're planting today is essentially the premier stock that TACF has. These are 15/16 pure American chestnut. They have 1/16 Chinese chestnut in them, which will ostensibly provide resistance to the American chestnut blight. We are doing essentially kind of an advanced genetics test to help the American Chestnut Foundation kind of refine the material that they have. So we're planting out 30 different lineages of chestnut today, along with American trees for controls and Chinese trees for controls. And we'll come back every year with the Northern Research Station we're cooperating with. We're going to collect data on this, and we'll find out which of these families are doing best. We'll report that information back to TACF in Virginia. They will then rogue out of their orchard the lowest quality material and keep the highest quality stuff. So what we're doing is essentially enforced selection here, and we're trying to identify what is the premier stock so that 5-10 years down the road we can continue to refine this process and get better and better, more blight resistant material. This is the first planting of this nature on the Wayne National Forest. It's the first one in Southeast Ohio, and I'm really excited that you all turned out for this project. So thank you. We got about 750 trees to plant. Shouldn't be an overwhelming project. We got about 70 plus people, so you're probably looking at 10 trees per person, which is good. The good news is, if you've been on another chestnut planting project, is you don't need a shovel and you don't need to break your back in the clay soil. All the holes have been augured already. So yeah, that's a good thing. We're going to have potted seedlings, which you'll stick in the ground, push in loose soil around them, and then we're going to put a deer protection tree tube around each one. You need to protect them from the deer because those are the key predators out there. They can wipe out a whole plantation lickety-split right after we spend all that time putting it in. Take your time. There's not a big rush. Make sure each seedling goes on the ground and give it as much care and attention as you can, along with setting in the tree tube and everything else. A few extra minutes that you spend really increases the probability of survival of these seedlings.
This is Tony Scardenia. He's our forest supervisor. Been here about, what, 2 months now? 4? It seems like 2. Maybe, I think 4. You're up.
All right, welcome everyone. Be safe today. Have a good time. We're really glad that you're all here. It's nice to have this many volunteers for, one, a beautiful day, and 2, for conserving American chestnut. So a great opportunity. This is a real partnership between the Forest Service, the American Chestnut Foundation, National Wild Turkey Federation, the National Resource Conservation Service, which is another agency within the Department of Ag. It's really nice to have volunteers help us continue with our mission, so thank you for that. I see a lot of students, I think, so I'm going to take an opportunity to say, if you're interested in some jobs, please come see me sometime. We have a lot of opportunities. We're filling positions, so I figured while you're all out here, I can see Monday morning. Yeah. Don't come see me personally. Come see Gary. Yeah. But we do have some real great opportunities, and we get to work in the field every day. Working the outdoors doesn't get much better than that. So be safe, have a good day.
Just real quick, we're going to have some what we call PPE, personal protective equipment, for those that are using tools. You know, safety first.
I'm glad to see we got everything sort of pre-staged here. We're ready to go, which I think is great. We should group up in teams of 3 to do each transect. That'll just work out perfectly for the number of people that we got. There's a lot of students here, there's faculty here, there's staff here from several different agencies, meet people and network a little bit. These chestnuts are not going in the ground in a non-random order. We have a very specific way that they need to be laid out. We'll kind of talk to 3 or 4 transect groups at a time. Please wait until we talk to your group before you get started so we don't make any mistakes on the order about how stuff gets laid out. We only need you for about 3 minutes. We'll go over a little bit about how to plant chestnut seedling, what are some of the tricks to making sure that it'll stay alive. And we'll just go over sort of the whole process about how to put the tree tube in. And so there's a number of people here that have obviously that have planted trees for a long time. And you've got a lot of people here with a lot of experience. Don't be afraid. If you don't think you're doing something right, just give somebody a holler and they'll be happy to come over and spread out. Get in your groups, maybe queue up 3 people to a group at the beginning of a transect. Number 2 goes the next one, number 3 the next one. What I'm going to suggest is that, again, you work in teams of 3, and I would have one person that's just in charge of pulling the seedlings, matching them up to the sheet, and matching them to the hole. It's really, really important that we get every seedling in the right hole because it corresponds to the genetic family that these come from. And so we have to have everything mapped out fairly carefully. For planting the trees, if you haven't done it before, you're feeling uncomfortable, something's not working out right, just raise your hand or go find somebody. There's plenty of people that are happy to help. To get these trees out of the tubes, what I do is I just kind of pinch them a little bit on the sides, and you should be able to just pull on this gently and it should pop out. It's very important that we keep all of the tags with each tree seedling so that we have a secondary marker system. These holes are nice because there's loose soil on the bottom of them. When you go to put these seedlings in the ground, you want the top of the potting soil to be at about the top of the ground. So you don't want to plant the seedling too deep and you don't want it too high above the ground. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more soil in here to top it up a little bit. A little bit more.
Level with the ground.
Level with the ground, yep. And you might have one person in your group hold this, the other person push in the soil. Loosely push in the soil all around the edges. Make sure it's spread around.
Now, let me hold it for you.
Okay, thanks. You don't want any voids or air pockets down in the bottom because that dries out the roots. If you have clods of soil, break those clods up as you're pushing the soil in.
And they do well in this silty.
How are you feeling about the planting substrate today?
This is a clay soil.
Okay.
And they don't do really well in clay soil, but they should do okay.
It's at the top of the hill, all the water will run off.
Well, that's kind of what we're half hoping, so.
No call for extra mixes in this?
Well, you've got a little bit of mix with the, that came in with the seedling, right, so.
And then how firm do you want it packed in?
Just, I would just kind of press down on it, like, just kind of medium pressure like that. Get it more or less straight, a little bit of loose soil on top, like so. It's going to be a happy seedling. Then we're going to put a tree tube on it. And you'll notice these tree tubes are perforated. This allows air to work its way through the tube. You'll notice that there's these little punch outs here, a lot like you see on a 6-pack of soda.
There's no top and no bottom. It's universal both sides.
Yep. Work this over the top of the seedling. Now a lot of these seedlings are branched, so you may need to kind of pull the branches together. Slide the tube down. I kind of check out to see that I got it in the middle. What I frequently do is I'll just take my hand, I'll tap it on the top here a little bit.
Now do you want the tag on the outside?
I'd prefer that the tag actually goes on the inside.
Okay. There we go. And then maybe...
And then yeah, do a little bit of that. And then take a little soil and pull the soil up around the outside of the tube and press it down. You'll know when you got just about enough because the tube will be self-standing. Now the reason we do that is, one, it helps keep the voles and the mice out from underneath the tube in the wintertime. The other thing, we're going to come out here in the spring, we'll have to spray some herbicide to cut down on the weeds, and so we want to have that sealed at the bottom so we don't get any herbicide in. Somebody hand me that steel pipe. So the driver for these things is here. Find your holes, stick up the fiberglass T-post right next to it, stick the steel rod over the top, and this is just like a fence pole driver. You want to drive this down so it's about the height of the tube or just a little bit lower. Don't want to drive down past these holes because we need to be able to pick them up. And you're not going to China with these things, you just want to get them in there kind of snugly so that it'll provide some support during the winter. There's 3 of these twist ties. These are just like the twist ties on a loaf of bread. And there's kind of an upper, a middle, and a lower one that you can use on here. So just go back and you find out these cutouts. You can just go through.
So 3 enough?
Close. 3 is all you need. 1 in the top, 1 in the middle.
Like oversized bread ties.
Yeah, these are oversized bread ties, exactly.
Not even supposed to fight with
Pick our little, what do you call it?
There you go. So there's one seedling in the ground. Really important, just make sure, again, for sort of quality control purposes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure you get them exactly in order that's on the sheet. Now, what did I do with my clipboard?
It just got
somebody
taken.
picked it up. Anyway, I'm sure. Yeah.
Not enough to go around?
One to share between us.
Oh.
Pretty secure.
Not giving you very good news. No, it's bottom.
All right. I got some instruction to try to keep the tags on the outside. I don't know if you guys, just because we're going to go back and check them. So if you can just even slide the tags in on that last twist.
We have one now too. Cool. We have one now too. What do you guys way up there? We're winning. Are you kissing each tree as you put it in? They won't share their driver. Love and affection. We got one now too. But ours are done right. Yeah, exactly. We're doing it right. They're doing it too bad. You side up. You side up.
Alright. You ready?
No, you're fine. I brought this many people out when I started mine. But it's nice to, so I just planted them a year. I get old. I got a high old down south. No, don't have any leatherwood. I got leatherwood. I got leatherwood in my wood. You got boosted out. I have actually my tree that. That's ours. We got it over there. He keeps stealing from us. I only stole it one time.
I was working on a master's degree. I think she's teaching at University of Georgia now.
Oh, nice.
Because that's where I was working, was at University of Georgia. That's reptilet-shirts.com.
There's 700 holes. They were all augered out with a auger that was attached to a tractor, and it took 3 days to do the 700 holes. Is that good? Okay.